Molly. Welcome to Purpose, where we are still just plugging along through the Bible, reading the stories and seeing how they fit into our lives and what lessons we can learn from them. Why? Because our whole purpose to be on this planet is to love God and love each other, which is the hardest thing in the world to do. And God knew it was going to be hard, so he left us directions. He left us the Bible. Why wouldn't we read the Bible? If we believe in God and God left us directions on how to love him, why wouldn't we read it? So that's what we're doing. We left off in Genesis chapter 37. So you remember that Jacob, who's also called Israel, I get that messed up all the time, but Israel had 12 sons, and he had two wives, Rachel and Leah, two sisters that he married. And we know he loved Rachel more than he loved Leah, which is never good. It didn't work out well for his mom and dad, between him and his brother. It's not going to turn out good here. So he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he loved Rachel's son Joseph more than his other sons. Well, this is never good. It just makes people feel jealousy and anger and hatred and tears people apart. You can't do that. And that's exactly what happened. Joseph's brothers didn't like him. Now, I have a feeling the Bible's skipping around in time here because we just found out that Rachel died having her son Benjamin, but I'm not sure she's dead in this part because Jacob's talking about her like she's alive. And we don't really hear about Benjamin. Maybe he's a baby, maybe Rachel's dead now, I don't know, but I think we might have jumped around in time. So anyway, Joseph's brothers don't like him. And it's kind of Jacob's fault, for showing favoritism. And I get it. Sometimes some of our kids are a lot easier to be around than others at different stages of their lives. Sometimes some kids are just more difficult. But we can't love one more than another. And if that happened to you and your family, if you're the one that's loved the most, hey, that was pretty good. But if you're not, it's just a terrible feeling. And it builds up resentment and anger. And so we have to try to show people that we care about them and we love them and we respect them. And it's a hard thing to do. We got to ask God for help with that one every day. But anyway, the brothers don't like him. In fact, Jacob made Joseph a coat, this robe. It wasn't a coat, it was a robe with long sleeves. Apparently his brothers didn't get one, or theirs isn't as nice, because they hated him for that too, that he's getting stuff that they're not getting. This is not right. Jacob's messing up here. And then he keeps Joseph back at home, and he keeps sending him out to check up on his brothers. And he comes back and tells them, yeah, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then that just makes them even more mad at him and they don't like him. But what's he supposed to do? Jacob's asking him to go out and check up on him. So Joseph's in kind of a tough spot here. Well, one time this exact thing happened. The boys are all out watching the sheep. Jacob or Israel sends Joseph out to check up on him. And that's what Joseph does. He goes out to check up on him. And, I forgot to tell you about his dream. So Joseph had this dream and he felt the need to share it with everybody. He dreamt that they were all out gathering sheaves, which are like bundles of corn stalks or wheat or oats or something that you tie up and you sit in your field so it can dry out. So they're all out in the field working, tying up these sheaves, and Joseph's sheaf raises up above everybody else's, and all the other sheaves come and bow down to it. That went over well with the brothers. They were all like, who do you think you are, Joseph, with your fancy robe? We are not bowing down to you. You are not better than us. That's how it made them feel. When Joseph went and told them this dream, they felt like, you think you're better than us? They were feeling probably that Jacob thinks Joseph's better than them, and it didn't sit well with him. Then he had another dream, didn't learn from the first one. He told him the second dream, where the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to him. Well, now Jacob assumed the sun and the moon were him and his wife Rachel, And the 11 stars were the other boys. And Jacob was like, wait, hold the bowing down train up here, Joseph. Your mom and I aren't bowing down to you, buddy. But he kept it in the back of his head. He went to God with it. He prayed about it. The boys just got ticked off at him again. Yeah, we are not bowing down to you, Joseph. And so now Jacob's sending him out to check on him. And he went and he couldn't find them. They weren't where they were supposed to be. So he asked a stranger, do you know where my brothers are? And he said, yeah, they're over around Dothan. So he headed that way. Now this can be taken in lots of different ways. It could just be, we know from later in the Bible that Joseph loves his brothers so much. And he just wants to fit in. He just wants them to love him. Maybe he's concerned for him and he just really wants to find him. Maybe this is a story about people who have fallen away from God. And if you're close to God and you have a good relationship with God, it's our responsibility to share him with other people. Maybe Joseph's trying to bring them closer to God. But you can't share God with people by lecturing to them, by preaching to them, by saying, you need to bow down to me. Look how good I am. I'm close to God and you're not. A, we don't know what's in their heart. Only God does. And B, I don't think preaching to people ever works, citing chapter and verse to people in a way that says this is what you should be doing. It doesn't work. It just ticks people off. But I do think we can share God with people by saying how he's helped us. When we were having trouble, how God helped us. How he brings peace to our lives. How when we're stressed and we don't know what to do, we can always turn to God. That kind of stuff we can do. We can love other people and be a good example of how other people should love. We can do all of that. But I'm a jealous person. I would have been with the brothers here on this one. I get jealous easy. And I really think jealousy is a gateway drug. I think it leads to all kinds of sin. It leads to anger and bitterness and resentment and hatred. And then we just do things we shouldn't do. We start talking bad about people or doing things we shouldn't do. And so when I get jealous, if I don't go to God with it right away, it just grows and grows and grows. So I got to go to God with that one because I cannot overcome that one on my own. So anyway, Joseph was headed towards the boys and they saw him coming. And they decided, you know what we're going to do with this dreamer who thinks we're bowing down to him? Let's kill him. Let's kill him and throw him in a pit. The desert was full of pits. People were trying to dig wells to find water. Most times they didn't find one, so there's a lot of dry pits around. And Reuben, the oldest brother, said, no, let's not kill him. That's gone too far. Let's just toss him in a pit. And then he planned to go back that night to get him back out. So Reuben knew it was wrong, but he didn't want to look bad in front of his brothers. Whew. Boy, have I been there. Every time we hear people gossiping and we know it's wrong, but we join in because we don't want to look bad or we don't want to embarrass them and point out, hey, you're gossiping, that's wrong. We're just going down the garden path on that one. Or when people are telling jokes that aren't nice, that are hurtful, and we laugh at them, we don't say anything, oof, then we're being Reuben there. And I've been both sides of this fence. I've been the brothers who want to kill him too. Not that I ever wanted to kill anybody, but So anyway, for whatever reason, Reuben leaves. He's not there. The boys capture Joseph. They throw him in the pit. He's got to be terrified. He just wants his brothers to love him. He just wants to fit in, and he's terrified down there. You know he is. It's like when your older sibling holds your head underwater when you're swimming. You're terrified. You don't know if they're actually going to really hurt you. Joseph is scared to death, and they're just eating lunch. Well, they see in the distance some Ishmaelite traders coming with a caravan. And they decide, hey, we should make a little profit off of this deal. If we kill him, we're getting no money out of it. So let's trade him. Let's sell him to the traders and get something. And they did. They got like 20 or 25 shekels out of him. They sold their brother to the slave traders. And when Reuben came back and saw the pit was empty, too late, they'd already sold him. So, and then they took his robe and they dipped it in blood, ripped it to shreds, took it back to Jacob and said, I don't know what happened to Joseph. We found his robe. I don't know. What do you think? And Jacob's like, oh, he's been eaten by a wild animal. And he went into a deep mourning and was very, very sad because he lost his son. There's so much we can learn from this little part right here. Mostly about jealousy and resentment. You know, how when we feel that entering into us, we need to nip it in the bud or it'll grow and grow and grow. And we'll be the ones that end up getting hurt from it, not the other people, even if we're right and they're wrong. You know, the boys weren't wrong to be upset that Jacob loved Joseph more than them, but they were wrong to let that jealousy grow and grow and grow. We got to go to God with it. We can't stop it on our own. At least I can't. I can't stop my jealousy on my own. I got to go to God with it and say, oh, dear Lord, please touch my heart. Help me to love you and love other people the way I should. That's the only way I can overcome it. And then little by little, God will break it up for me until all of a sudden, hey, I'm not jealous about that anymore. That's the only way to do it. But it's also about not being all uppity with people. You know, we all know people who are working on growing closer to God and getting to know Him better, and they feel the need to put other people down because they don't think they are as close to God as they should be. You don't know. Can you see inside their heart? You don't know. We need to, I think, tell people about God. Tell them how God helps you and brings you peace and comfort, and how when you've had situations maybe that they're going through, like jealousy, you give it up to God and He helps you to feel peace. That kind of stuff we can do. We can show them how we live our lives and how we try to be kind and love other people, and that'll rub off on them. And we can pray for them. Pray that God touches their heart. Pray that the Holy Spirit wraps His arms around them, filling them with God's love and peace and wisdom. But we can't act like we're better than them and want people to bow down to us. No, 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 that won't work. Well, next time we get together, we're going to find out what's going on with the boys, what happened when they got back. Did they feel sorry for what they did? Did their lives, take a nosedive after selling their brother? We're going to find out. Well, I pray that God will touch your heart today, that He will wrap you in His arms and fill you with His love and His peace. And anytime you start feeling jealous or envious of somebody, or like you feel like you're better than them, that God will touch your heart and show you how to love Him and love others. Because I can't do it on my own. Maybe you can't either. Well, I hope you all have the best day today. Bye-bye, everyone.